Thank you. Appreciate all being here. Tuesday, November 19th. Why don't we call to order? I've got 4:01. We'll start with our land acknowledgement. As we gather today, I would like to acknowledge on behalf of Council and our community that we are meeting on the traditional territory of the Algonquin people. We would like to thank the Algonquin people and express our respect and support for their rich history, and we're extremely grateful for their many and continued displays of friendship. We also thank all the generations of people who have taken care of this land for thousands of years. Looking at our agenda, would there be any declarations of pecuniary interest? Nope. None being heard, we'll move on to confirmation of council agenda as point 4.
That council adopt the agenda for the November 19th, 2024 regular council meeting.
Could I have a mover? Thank you, Councillor Humphreys, and a seconder. Thank you, Councillor Webster. All in favor? Thank you. With no delegations or public meetings, we'll move on to minutes from previous meetings. Our meeting from November 5th, regular council on page 2 of our package. Do I have a mover to accept minutes as presented? Thank you, Councillor Campbell, seconded by Councillor Webster. All in favor? Thank you. And we'll move on to committee reports, and we'll start off with general government, and I'll pass it over to Chair Webster.
I almost forgot. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Thank you, everybody. Thank the public members for showing up and assisting us with the General Government Committee. So 8.1.1 Treasurer's Report, page 6 of our package. I'm going to pass this over right to our Treasurer, Natalie Moore.
Thank you. So Hope and I had attended a law seminar in Eganville. Cunningham Swan puts it on annually, and it's always very informative and interesting to sit in a room and hear everybody's tales of what they encounter. Also included the documents for our OMPUF allocation for 2025. It has gone up a little bit, 12,900, which is good that it's not going in the other direction. And right now we're in budget, and as you see from the timeline, we are going to be meeting with the committees individually to review, their departments in detail, because we have received all departments now, so we will be sitting with the committees and going over that, and then in December we will put forward some dates to have a council working day that we kind of go over it and review it a little more in detail, and then we move on to the public meeting and the passing. Not sure if anybody has any questions about the report or the revenue and expenditures.
Yeah, any questions? Yes, Spencer?
This is a great report. This is a great report, and it really helps us crystallize all of the things that we want to know. The only thing would, is it possible? Oh,
There we go.
would it be possible to do a roll-up for all of the departments? In other words, have an end line that says total department performance based on whether it's year-to-date or how much is scheduled to go. It's a small thing, but it kind of really helps have a major view of how we're doing overall.
Like, you mean in the chart at the bottom?
Yes, the chart. Just in other words, have a summary which would state all departments.
Oh, okay, like the grand
Yeah.
overall total. Okay, I can add that in.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, go ahead, Susan.
Just had a couple of questions, Charlie. I know you have some timelines around the budget. What are you thinking might be the final date of actually getting the budget approved, and what are you looking at just to finalize that?
Ideally, I'd like to get it as early in the year as we can. I guess the ultimate goal would be to do it in current year for following year. We're not quite there just yet, but as early as we can. So I guess it'll be dependent on everybody's schedules and being able to fit in the workshop, and then we have to give notice for the public meeting.
Right.
So
So
as early as we can.
End of January, maybe?
Yeah,
ideally?
January, February
Okay.
would be ideal.
Yeah, it'd be nice to have it done by December, but I know that's
Yes.
not workable. I just had a couple of questions, and they're, it may just be because I'm, this is not my real area of expertise. Under the general government revenue, and I know you have a couple of asterisks to indicate that the numbers includes the amount collected and distributed for county and school boards, and the school boards, thank you, by the way. But I do find it a bit confusing because you talk about budgeted up over 3 million, but the actual is 6, and then you've got 93% remaining. So it just confuses me a bit. Can you just help me understand that a little bit more?
Yeah, so when I do the budget, we only include what we need to generate as a township. And then in addition, we tax on behalf of the county and the school board. So that's why it's so, because we pay 1.9 to the county and just over $1 million to the school board. So that's all in our general government in the GL.
Okay.
So when I run the report, it pulls in everything general government related. I mean, I could filter out those, but it pulls it all into the report.
That's fine. It's just this, I may ask you again next year, but.
That's okay.
Just to help me remember that. And I guess the only other two pieces that were, looked a little bizarre was the transportation revenue and the fire department revenue. And I'm assuming that's just timing of revenue more than
Yeah.
anything else. It's nothing to really be concerned about.
Nope.
And I had a little chat with Spencer ahead of time, and it really would be nice to have the roll up because we know that they all kind of balance out each other often. And so if you kind of know the bottom line on it, it does make a difference as well. So
For sure, I can add that.
that would be great. Thanks.
Great, thank you. Any other comments, questions? Yes, Deputy Mayor?
Thank you. Appreciate all of the information. There's an awful lot in there relative to the provincial funding. I don't, I know the story's not done, but I do appreciate you sharing all of it. Very similar to your question as well, Susan, is from an overall perspective, is it a fair assumption or fair read of this that our revenues are not yet all received in so much that our tax revenues are not yet in? That was one of my questions to it. But yet our expenses look as anticipated. Is that a fair assessment of where we're at?
Yes, because we have another due date at the end of the month, so that's a big revenue generator there. And we do have some funding that needs to be accounted for too, that we usually get later in the year. It just hasn't been recorded yet.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Chair Webster.
Great, thank you for that. Any other comments, questions? In regards to the report? So the bottom line item, I'm just trying, so we'll just summarize it all, add it all up, and then we can just basically look at the bottom line. We're gonna figure out where percentages that way, where we're gonna be at.
Yep.
Yep, okay, thank you for that. Just to clarify in my head, that was a good question. Thank you, Susan. If there's no other comments, questions, I'll pass it back to you, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you very much. Why don't we move on to correspondence summary, section 9 in our package, the CAO and clerk's information on page 21 of our package. There were two pieces mailed to all of us, one of our calendars, the other one was the child welfare funding. Wondering if there are any comments, questions, remarks. Okay, none being heard, we'll move on to page 22 of our package, relative to resolution in support of urging the government to promptly resume the MPAC property assessment cycle. May I pass that over to you?
Sure. So as you've all had a chance to read, this is a call for support a call for the government actually to resume the assessment cycle and start a new version instead of being stuck at the 2016 assessment rates. So this is a resolution of support, which the actual resolution will come later in the resolution section. But if anybody has any questions, I don't mind entertaining them.
Any questions? None being heard, my remark, I guess, to this is certainly tying into a budget cycle is, last we had heard from MPAC, they had commented that when the 2016 assessment values were shifted, that they would bring it in as a 25% increase to assessments, which then led us to the question, and I guess this is, again, just a remark for all of us to be aware of, is how then do we budget for a 25% year-over-year increase in property values relative to our mill rates? Our mill rate staying flat is not a viable option. So I'd love to see what other municipalities are starting to plan for, and I'll look directly at you for that, of how we plan our mill rates in accordance to when MPAC does reassess and when those assessments would start to shift. Okay. Any other comments or questions before we move on? No? Okay. Thank you. Moving on to section 10 of our agenda bylaws, none being brought in, we'll go to notice to file motion for next council meeting. Okay. Section 12, any council or staff members' concerns? Councillor Campbell.
Not really a concern, just I was pleased to see a great turnout at the Remembrance Day ceremony, and you know, we're able to get, I don't know how compared to, I was absent the year before, but I know Bert Virgin is very pleased with the turnout this year in comparison, so glad to see the support. And then again, if anybody attended the Renfrew ceremony with the Chinook helicopters from CFB flying over, it was great to see, so very patriotic. So.
Wonderful. Anybody else? Councillor Humphreys.
Yeah, it's just the one concern, and I spoke with Tally about it, about changing the dates of our budget meetings, and it's all looked after. So I'll be in touch with Adam Knapp and Tyler and our gang for our test meeting to move it back. So we'll get a lot of things done in 2 days. It'll be nice. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you.
So through you, Chair, I know at the last council meeting, I had mentioned I was going to bring back a report regarding the Renfrew and Area Police Services Detachment Board to make a decision on supporting their budget, as well as discussing whether we supported the equal payment system or proportional. I decided not to bring a report forward to this meeting, as I see there is an upcoming board meeting this week, at the end of this week. I believe us and another municipality still have not made the decision yet, the smaller municipalities. So there is a presentation by, I believe it's Admaston Bromley's mayor, to discuss the budget, as well as some more conversation. So I didn't know if we wanted to wait until Councillor Campbell could bring back some more clarity and information to the table at the next council meeting before I brought a report for council to make a decision, and whether or not, you know, council wants to invite the chair of the Renfrew and Area Detachment Board as well, just to kind of have that extra support at the table to discuss the board's initiatives and any information and questions that council may have.
Councillor Webster.
Thank you. To the CEO, is the mayor of Mr. Bromley, would he need any support from us to be in attendance for, or if so, I think it'd be a wise choice for us to help attend.
I just saw his name on the agenda. So he hasn't reached out to the township. I mean, I can certainly reach out and see if he would want council important support moving forward, but he never reached out to us initially, so.
Okay, thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you for that, and I appreciate the direction and like that direction for sure. Thank you to your point as well. The Remembrance Day ceremony was fantastic, and having it on the first Sunday certainly did allow to deconflict from a number of other items in the area and spread the Day of Remembrance out. So appreciate that as well. The only item that I will share with others is certainly with the inaugural warden and county meeting coming up December 10th. Just reminding and just sharing with everyone that with that coming up, it will be a new era a little bit. There are two representatives running. I understand that's new, and that inaugural will be on December 10th. and appreciate the support that we're receiving at county. And I think you've probably all been perhaps reading in the newspaper as well as our MPP, John Yakubuski, has now gotten a little bit more involved around the OPP billing that has been coming out. No changes as of yet, but the journey continues. All right, why don't we move on to section 13 of resolutions, and I'll pass that over to you, Sayeo.
That council receive the treasurer's report as information.
Moved by Councillor Campbell, seconded by Councillor Humphreys. All in support?
That council receive the CAO clerk's information memo for November 19th, 2024.
Moved by Councillor Webster, seconded by Councillor Humphreys. All in support? Thank you.
Be it resolved that the Council of the Township of Horton hereby supports the resolution from the municipality of Callender urging the government to promptly resume the assessment cycle. And further, that council directs staff to provide a copy of this resolution to the Premier, the relevant provincial authorities, the Association of Municipalities of Ontario, the Rural Ontario Municipalities Association, the Federation of Northern Ontario Municipalities, the Municipal Property Assessment Corporation, and all municipalities in Ontario for their consideration to make proper changes as quickly and efficiently as possible.
Do I have a mover? Thank you, Councillor Campbell, seconded by Councillor Webster. All in support? Thank you.
That council enact bylaw 2024-40 confirming bylaw.
Moved by? We'll keep it going. Councillor Campbell, seconded by Councillor Humphreys. All in support? And that would have us adjourned at 4:17. Thank you all.